story time. And coloring. And juicy bubblegum chewing. And some coffee. And what else? These are some pages from my niece's Lisa Frank coloring book. I have three camping stories for us. And one when I was in grammar school. One married when our kids were in grammar school. And one when I was in high school. And the first one was like a nightmare. I think the nightmare was for my mother. Obviously, that's why that camping trip only lasted like not even 24 hours. My mom is not the camping type or the outdoors type. She's not an outdoorsman or outdoorswoman. And so I believe the camping place was Bass Lake, like somewhere in Fresno, Bakersfield, California. We're familiar with because we went there a couple times with friends and cousins. So this was prior to 1973. I'm thinking 1970, 1969. My dad had a Ford station wagon, the one that you had those little seats in the back. You could lay the back flat, or you could pop up, and like 4 little kids could sit in 2 little seats. Anyways, I borrowed the neighbor's tent. We go. We're all excited. So, set up camp, have supper. My dad's talking about all the stuff we're going to do the next day, right? And I'm like 10 or 11 years old. And my brother and sister are like 5 and 6, 6 and 7. So we find out later that I guess there was a skunk that was rummaging through our campsite. It was just like covered in our area. Apparently, my mom was so hysterical and couldn't get the skunk away from our campsite. My mom was so crazy, hysterical about it. She made my dad pack us all up and go home. I'm serious. I will never forget the disappointment as a kid. I thought I was waking up from a bad dream. I wake up and I'm home in my bed. And I remember going to sleep thinking of all the things we're going to do the next day because my dad was saying, I'm going to go fishing, I'm going to do this. To this day, the disappointment, when I think about it, as a kid, that was like unbelievable. And I kept thinking, how did they get us all the way home and I didn't wake up? I was dumbfounded about so many things. And then the next day, I asked my brothers and sisters if they were you awake when we were getting packed up? Like, nobody was awake. Nobody remembers anything. That's like beyond unbelievable. How all three of us kids slept through the whole thing. How did that happen? Anyways, that was a story. There was a skunk. Okay, so there's that. Then, high school was the big trip to Yellowstone. And again, my parents should have probably known that maybe camping wasn't for our family when we went camping by ourselves. Now, we did do camping with our neighbors a few doors down. Now, that was a good camping experience because they were campers. Their whole family were campers. They were born campers. So we would go with them and we'd have fun camping. So I guess my parents thought they were well versed enough to pick up and do it by themselves with us kids. Now this time there were 4 of us. My little sister was born, I do believe this was 1976 or 1977, because I had just was like in 11th or 12th grade, and we got excited about the trip because we had moved into a new home, and our neighbor, who later became my husband, was sharing all the fun of Yellowstone, and my dad felt real confident because of all the information that the neighbor shared. So again, now this time we had an Econoline van. It was like a family truckster, like a mini RV. It was total fun. For the life of me, and even to this day, my mom doesn't talk about it, and none of us kids knows exactly what happened. My dad did something that set my mom off. So my mom did not speak like for 4 or 5 days. It was awful. And she does have a temper. That's the Italian side of the family. I kind of have a hunch it had to do with my dad just being my dad. And he was a drinker, not an alcoholic, but he every night liked his drink. And he wasn't like a camper or a a fun, a hobby person. He was, I guess you could say, he was like a workaholic. He was more of a serious person, but he would do family stuff. It wasn't that he was grumpy. He just didn't know or have the capacity to know how to just break loose and have fun. I think my mom was upset about those two things. I think it's just something that never got talked about. And I think she was hoping that every night he wouldn't have to have a need for a drink. I don't know exactly, but 4 or 5 days, and that was my mom's way. She'd get so mad, and we'd get the silent treatment for like 2 or 3 days. It was sickening as a kid. Anyways, so something happened like around the fifth day or so. We get into Yellowstone, and she's doing better, and she comes to life again. Oh my goodness. But thankfully, our memories of Yellowstone, excuse me, my memories of Yellowstone are not that trip to Yellowstone. It's the Yellowstone trip that we took with our kids in late 80s, early 90s. So it was totally fun because my husband is an outdoors guy. I had a really good good fun time with him. But so okay, so we did 2 stories. The third story was our kids were in grammar school. We're on a camping trip. Well, I guess maybe I have 4 stories. Oh, this is 2 combined, so it could be 1 maybe. Because it was like back-to-back camping vacations. So one was we were going somewhere where there were glaciers. Obviously, it wasn't here in Southern California. It was somewhere northern, central California. I mean, United States. Can't recall where. My husband, who had been there a few times in the 60s, early 60s, is telling us all about it, right? We get there. I think I've shared this before. We get there, and they're melted. And we go to the place, we're looking at the posters, we're looking at the tour. And my husband's looking around for like the line or the tour guide or something. And they say that the glaciers are melted. I could not believe it. The look on my husband's face was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it, but he more so because he had been there. And that was probably my first realization, like, oh my goodness, all these beautiful, wonderful things we have might not last forever. The look on his face was, I can't even describe the disappointment. So there was that memory. Then, the other thing was we were by Mount St. Helens, and though it was summer for us, I think it was like early June, late May, Mount St. Helens was foggy, overcast, and had snow. I can't believe that we were having a vacation in the winter. Oh, perhaps it was the Easter vacation earlier in the year. In any event, Mount St. Helens had snow, foggy, overcast, wet weather. Right? My husband is dead set that we're going to go climb Mount St. Helens. But of course, with 2 kids in grammar school, it's not going to be like a huge climb. It's just going to be, just to say, we climbed Mount St. Helens. We'll take like a little trail up, maybe a mile. Okay, we're all set. We have the boots or coats, and it was so spooky for me. Had it not happened to me, I probably wouldn't have really believed the depth of fear a person could have. Okay, we were pretty close. You know, there was fog. Couldn't see too well. Within seconds, I could not see. Nobody could see the person like right next to them, right in front of them. It's like we were all stuck in the fog and couldn't see anything. And I was so frightened. I couldn't believe it. And at that point, I became my mother. And I was so upset, fearful, upset, and angry. Because I had kind of mentioned to my husband, "Oh, you think we should go? It's kind of hard to see. You want to hike up there, but we can barely see like 50 feet, 75 feet ahead of us." Oh, and he said, "It'll be okay, I'll be okay." That moment was so frightening. I was screaming bloody murder, telling him, "It's over, we're leaving, this is not happening. You can still say we climbed Mount St. Helens, we just didn't get up as far as you wanted to go." Bless his heart, he didn't say a thing. I think he could just see the fear and hear it in my voice. So that was our Mount St. Helens moment. But so I learned two things like back to back: how our national places that are so beautiful don't last forever, and you really have to be careful when you're out on a mountain. And you gotta head out like that. So many things could happen. Like, I don't even know what would I have done. How would I have gotten out of that situation if I couldn't see? So I really learned the importance of you have to be serious out there. It's not like a fun Southern California trail or hiking trip out up a mountain. I'm not very serious. Anyway, so there's my story time. I haven't done a story time for a long time, have I? Anyway, reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please push the thumbs up like button. I appreciate your help with that. And as always, thanks